Greetings. This is Arvette McLean of Speak, the Universe Listens.
We cherish that. We love that particular piece of it because it
teach people like, hey, it's okay, change.
New ways to view age-old challenges. Change your thoughts, change your life. Step into the bigness of you.
Greetings and welcome to today's episode of Speak, the Universe Listens. And today's topic is money. And money is one of those hot topics that everybody has something to say about money. But before we start, I want to say hey to Steven. Hey Rodney.
Hey.
Hey Teron.
Hey.
Yes, but money, it's no matter where you go, that's a hot topic, that's a buzzword, money. And I think it makes people feel some kind of way just to talk about money. So today we're talking about the energy of money and how to get money and how do we repel money and that type of thing. So I think one of the things that we hear all the time is you got to work hard for the money. So what do y'all think about that?
I used to think, you got to work twice as hard to get it, or you got to, you got to really work hard to get it, or, you're working hard or you're hardly working. It was always like a little like saying whenever like you weren't doing any work. But now I kind of switched. Like now I prefer to be on the hardly working side, honestly. Like the hard work, yes, you can get money doing it that way, but I feel like you can find easier ways to attract money to you.
Mm-hmm.
I think the same thing because I was on that same wave as what Teron was talking about as far as like working hard and thinking that you have to, work 24 hours, just to get what you want. But in actuality, I changed my perspective on it and just realized like, money is like more physical, and I think it's a mindset for us. So I don't think that we got to work hard for it, but for me, it's just a mindset.
I know growing up, my dad was always like work nonstop, and he was always like, he preached that you got to work like this to have whatever you want, to have what you want, and he'll tell me things like you gotta save something for a rainy day. You can't just live for the day and stuff like that. But I ain't want to slave like him, or that's not what I wanted to do.
Right.
So I believe there's definitely other ways to get the money.
Mm-hmm. And for whatever reason, I never subscribed to working hard is the way to get money because everybody I knew worked hard.
Right.
My mom worked 3 and 4 jobs all the time, as long as I ever, as we were growing up. She's one of the hardest working people I saw, but we were always poor. And everybody around us was poor and they worked hard. So I never equated working hard with money. And then like even when you work, when you're employed, it's like seem like you working hard, the people on the bottom rung. And as you move up the chain, people aren't working quite as hard.
Right.
So that's one of the reasons why I never equated it, even though I always heard that, I always knew that was a part of, our overall culture,
Right.
but it just didn't make sense to me.
Mm-hmm.
And now I think about it too, like my mom, she used to work 2 jobs herself, and she used to work so hard. And when it came to like thinking about money, I thought just like you, I didn't really think about money with working hard till I got older. Then I realized, okay, so I subscribe to thinking that if I work hard, then I get money. You know, I'm able to have those type of things. And then I realized, like, well, okay, I'm working hard, then I get money, I got to spend the money. You know, so I'm like, yeah, I shift that narrative a little bit and thought about, instead of money-wise, more like my wealth, my abundance, you know, my friends. Far as when it comes to thinking physical, actual paper money, just more of the abundance of what I actually have in my life. So that's what I thought about.
Oh, that's interesting. So more like resources versus money.
Right.
I like that.
I always felt like I always wanted money, but I always felt I got to come up with ways to get it, you know. And I didn't want to go to you know, like the traditional thinking of, like, I feel like we come from the thinking of you know, get a job, work there a long time, get a 401k, and, you know, just, I was never subscribed to that. I always felt like it's more. And then I had examples of people that I felt had more than the average. So I always looked up to that.
Yeah, and I think those examples are key, because when I was thinking about when did I make that switch, I started thinking about it, and it kind of came because all like the financially successful people I knew, I had no idea what they were doing for a living. I was like, what? I don't know what they do. Like, so I would watch like my mom and my dad just like work. And then like if somebody would say, well, what does an Yvette do? And I'm like, man, I don't know. So I was like, well, wait a minute. Like, maybe you don't have to like give all your time and energy to one place in order to get this money. Like, it has to be another way to do it, because I can tell you where the people who are still striving to get to where they want to go, like, are working at, but I can't tell you what the people who are kind of like in a different space work at, because they're never defined by their career or their job.
Now, I have to say, I worked hard. Like I did. I worked hard for a long time. And then somewhere along the way, I mean, I honestly already know what happened. What happened was I read 7 Spiritual Laws of Success. And that Deepak Chopra basically changed my life. And it was, you know, the law of least effort, work less and achieve everything. And I'm just like, that makes no logical sense in my brain. But after I went through that book, every time we hired a new employee, I went through the book again. And so I went through that book probably like 30, you know, just a lot of times. And it just started to sink in that, okay, I can do less and achieve more, achieve everything. And so that's like the person that you know was on the other side of that.
It's like, I know our culture, we glorify working hard.
Right.
Like, as soon as you see somebody, it's like, yeah, I gotta go in, and you know, it's just like we glorify the working hard instead of the manifesting money and attracting money and things like that.
Right. And so another word for money is currency. And currency is energy. Yeah. And that energy, everything is energy. And so when we think about money and how do we, as you say, attract it, but I even want to go beyond that. Like, it's already here. Everything that we want is already here. So we don't have to attract stuff, but the reason why we don't see it is because we don't believe it. And things are like right in front of our face, but we can't get it because we don't believe it. So it's like redefining your relationship with money. And so many of us have relationships with money. I actually heard this analogy. I like this, so I'm going to co-opt it as my own. But so many of us think about money. If you think about how you think of money and compare it to a relationship with a person, And so think about how people say, man, I ain't never got no money, you know, or you know, that money it stays away from me. And when it comes, it's like, shoo, finally, you know. So if you think about that like a person, if you interacting with a person like that, like he ain't never around when I need him. Oh, you here now? Oh, you want to show up now? Or whatever. But like really start thinking about what is your relationship with money. Like, do you love money? And the thing is, we've been taught that to love money is sacrilegious, like you shouldn't. But really, whatever it is in life, well, I would just say love everything. Just love everything. But if you want it, gosh, you gotta love it.
You gotta
change your relationship with it.
I think I was talking to you guys last night, and my biggest thing that I've been working on it is being frugal. So that mindset came from like growing up, and you know, my mom used to always say, "Boy, I ain't got no money for that. Put it back." And, you know, and I always kept hearing that. So when I got older, just thinking about money, even when I had it, you know, my mindset went straight to, you know, I don't need that. You know, that's too much. And I'm looking at price tags and so forth. So learning how to get to the point as to where it's like, stop telling myself you don't have it, because if I say I don't have it, then I'm just I'm attracting that energy. So I'm sort of shifting my narrative on that and start thinking that knowing that I already have instead of trying to be frugal.
Right. Because I'm the frugal queen. And
Really?
so I literally have to program myself, and I've been working on it for a few years, but to not look at price tags. Like, do you want it? That's the only thing, that's the only question you need to ask. Do you want this? And then go ahead and get it. And I know I shared this story with you guys before about one time when I was at the grocery store and I was going to buy a fruit tray. And I can't remember the prices now, but I'm just going to make it up. So let's just say the fruit tray was like $24. And I was like, $24 for some cut up watermelon and some pineapples? Like, I can cut this up myself. And, you know, so, but I'm on the phone with my husband. So I'm like, $24. And so he's like, Arvette, I have this amount of money in this bank account. I have this amount of money in this bank account. I'm thinking, why is he telling me how much money he have in the bank account? I'm just still going on. What? This is highway run. $24?
Yeah, you saw that.
And he's like, I got this much money in this bank account. And I was like, He's like, so I think we can afford the $24. $24 fruit tray. And I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, I think I've just been sitting here thinking about something that you had said too, about how we kind of like praise hard work. Because even when I think about like, even in interactions with people, like the first thing I say to somebody like, you know, how you been? I just been working. It's like, why is that like the first thing I want to tell somebody? Like, I just been working. Like, I can just say I've just been creating. I've just been attracting. It's so many other words, vibrating high.
Right.
But I always go to like work, and then like the tone in which is always is. So it's like, how can money ever be attracted to that tone? It's like it's dismissive the minute you say it.
Never excitement in it.
And I like that what you said about creating, because you know, a lot of people don't really want to focus on money per se.
Right.
But if you can focus on I'm creating something that's beautiful for the world. Like whatever I'm creating, like be in love with that, and you're exchanging your creative resources for other resources. So if you can think of it, you know, like just flip your thinking on it. Like, I'm not trying to work for money. I'm working for resources, and I'm really creating what I love in life. And this creation, I'm exchanging it for other resources.
And you know, that's how I do like with my work that I do. I sit back, and when I'm working, I don't think about the actual money itself. And you know, I enjoy what I do. And the less, at one time I did think about it though, but then I got into the mindset of like, enjoy what you do. If you enjoy what you do, you don't have to worry about the money, because the money is gonna it's gonna come to you. It's gonna manifest to you, and then when it comes to you, you gonna realize, you gonna be like, dang, I didn't even realize I had this much. You know?
Yeah. Wow. Actually, now that you guys are saying it too, I think about it even in my work. So I'm a fundraiser. So naturally, I'm sitting around calling and asking for money like all day.
Right.
But when I think about it, I never even think about it as asking for money. It's more so I'm asking for whatever like we need to help the kids that day. So if it's like, oh, you're asking for school supplies, or I'm asking for something else, it's like, if the negative connotation is in money to me, then I'm just removing that stigma, and I'm just asking for whatever else I need created in that moment.
I like that.
My biggest thing too, with what you were saying, I try to keep in mind of like my tone and my energy when it comes towards like money. Anything that I do, because like I said, I'm frugal, so I'll be quick to be I'll be quick to say, you know what, no, I ain't got it. So I have to shift I have to get out of that mindset of saying I don't have it, and just say, you know what, I have it, you know. Because anytime somebody asks me for some money, I'll be ready to say, nah, I ain't got it.
So yeah, I do get a little bit confused. I don't even know if I should talk about this here, but I do get confused as to why people don't have money. Like I'm not exactly sure what that phenomena is. Because even, you know, when I was poor,
Right.
I still had money. If that makes any sense. Like, it's like, if someone's like, can I borrow some money? Even though I had these bills to pay, I can give them that, and then somehow my stuff would be magically taken care of. Like I've never been in a shortage of. Like I always, it's like the money always grew
Right.
to match whatever I felt like I needed. So even though, you know, I had these bills I had to pay, and it would take up all of my money. Right? It would take up every penny I had. But if someone said, can I borrow some kind of way I was able to give them that, and then I would still have the amount to pay for everything. You know, so it was like something was always providing for me, even when I was so entrenched in that lack mentality.
It's like when you know, stressing about money and things like that, and you need a certain amount, you're like, yeah, I need $250 to take care of my bills or whatever the case may be, but I don't have it. And your focus is on that number, and somehow you come up with it and get it done. And I started being like, well, why every time I get in a jam and I need it, like it just comes. Like I need to start asking for more. And not just asking for what I need at the time.
Right. That's a good way to think about it, though. Good way to think about it.
Yeah, but I don't know all the abundant people in the world, but I would have to think that my perception is the people who have the most money, they're working at least for their money. Now, they may be working, you know, they may still be doing all kinds of stuff in the world, but they're not doing it in exchange for money. Does that make sense? Right. So kind of like what you say, well, what's your job? Like, they don't have a job that they're going to, you know, but they're offering an exchange out into the world. They're creating in the world in ways that they love, but not necessarily like, oh, I got to go do this so that I can bring in another $1 million, you know?
Right. I think that was like my biggest thing, trying to get out of that mindset. Because I think a lot of people, like I have a relative of mine that has a lack mentality just when it comes to the money part. And every time money comes their way, it's like it's a paycheck to paycheck ordeal. And in between that time frame, it's, you know, well, I don't have this, you know, I don't have that. And so I try to tell them, well, stop saying what you don't have, because all you're doing is attracting more of not having, you know. So trying to get them to just see, like, if they change the way that they view money, and it may just help them, you know, to see more money, because they think that they don't have, and they actually do have, but they can't see it, you know. And for me, I can see it, and I'm like, wow, you know. But because I've been there before, so I know how that feels.
Right.
Like,
because it's like if we're the creator, right? Like
Right.
we're creating this. And so if I'm saying I don't have it, then I'm creating that situation. I don't have it. And it's all sounds so crazy when you are living in the consciousness that we have come up in. Because I remember the first time one of my friends told me, she said, money is just a number on a piece of paper. She's like, how much, you know, if you, like, how much money you got in the bank. It's just a number on a piece of paper. It's not like you can go to the bank and open up a door that has your name on it and it's money in there. And she's like, so if it's just a number on a piece of paper, that's just energy. And I'm just like, what? Like, I don't understand. Like, that makes no logical sense. The number is the number that's in my account. I can't. It's not like I can, you know, go in and change the number. Like, that's a finite number. And she would be like, no, it's not finite. It's energetic. And I'm just like, I don't know what you're talking about. But the thing about me is I don't close off no doors just because I don't understand.
right.
You know, like, I'm like, huh? Like, what? That doesn't make any sense.
You still scratching?
Yeah, like, but, you know, how? Show me. Like, you know, so I leave it open for the universe to pour that information into me. And then eventually the answers will come. And then I'm like, oh. And, like, when she told me that, because I used to always balance my checkbook, like, to the penny, right? But when she said that, she was like, if you know how much money you have in the bank, there's no room for you to have more than what you think you have.
I like that. I like that.
And so I was like, okay. So I stopped. I totally stopped balancing my checkbook. So I don't know how much money I got in the bank. So I probably told y'all this story before too. I'm sure I have, but I probably haven't said it like on camera. But one time we were having our school renovate. Well, it was just a building, like a warehouse, and we made it into a school. And so when they finished doing all the work, you know, I thought they was gonna put us on a payment plan or something like that. And he was like, we need a $250,000 check. And I'm like, what? Huh? So I'm like, okay, I don't know how much money I have. Pretty sure I didn't have $250,000 in my account, but I didn't know. So I wrote that check. I was bold enough to write that check for $250,000. I gave it to him, and I never heard from him again. So I don't know if the money was there or not, or some other resource swooped. I don't know what happened, but I never heard. They never came back saying, "Look, that check bounced." And so I don't share that story like most of the times in public because I'm not advocating writing bad checks. But being in the energy of there's a possibility, leaving that possibility open for it is right here. I do have everything I need. I have more than everything I need, and believing in that.
I think I've been in that scenario probably a couple times after you said that. I was thinking, I was like, you know, she got a point, because I remember it was a few times before. I sit back and I'm just swiping my card. Swipe. And then, you know, payday is like maybe 2-3 days later, right? Coming up for me. So I'm just thinking to myself, I'm like, I'm just swiping. I know I ain't got that much on here. So then payday comes and I'm like, got a little more than what I expected. And I'm like, I said, okay. I said, I had a little bit more than what I thought. I said,
left that possibility open
Yeah.
for more to be created.
Right.
So, based on some of the things we've talked about, some of your experiences, if someone was to say to you that they were challenged with attracting money into their lives, what would you say to them?
I would say just walk around feeling like money, like how to like feel good about money, you know, and always speak positive about money and feel good about money. That's what I would say.
I would say don't be afraid to try different routines either. We had a guest on the podcast one time, and Sia told me to face west and, you know, put my hand on my stomach and my back and just really focus my energy on attracting money like that. And why, like, to anybody else, it might seem like kind of like abstract, but I felt like it was very helpful. And know she's actually told you to burn ancestor money sometimes, and that's worked for you. So to also just be open to new ideas, I guess, is the best way to put that.
For me, I would say just basically what we were just talking about. Don't think about what you don't have. You know, keep that open space as to where you're able to manifest more than what you have.
Yes, and I would add two things. One is your own feeling of worthiness. How you feel about yourself is going to make a huge difference in terms of what you allow into your life. And then how you feel about everything else also matters. So if you, I think Rodney hit on, if you have a negative viewpoint about money, then you're blocking it. In the same way that if I have a negative viewpoint about you, then that means, you know, you'll probably stay away from me. So being aware of your viewpoint on yourself as well as your viewpoint on the money. And the easiest thing to do is just to love everything, just to love yourself, love the money. Because the universe really does respond to us. Right. It responds to our thinking. And so if we're thinking, I'm abundant, I always have everything I need, the universe provides for me, I'm creative, I energetically exchange my resources for other resources, like, you know, whatever words you need to say to yourself, but things that make it easy for money to flow in and for you to see it, because a creative ideal is right here. Yeah. Like a lot of times we think we got to figure it out. And you can have the best idea in the world. Like if you know, go to any business, like they have terrific ideals, but they may not be making money. But then you'll see people with the simplest ideals, and you're like, they getting paid off of that?
Yeah, the simplest thing, right?
Yeah, and so ideals are all around us, And so it's not a matter of not having the right ideals, not a matter of having the right business model. It's not a matter of any of that. You know, like people say, you got to write this business plan, and if you don't, and projections and this, or else it'll never be successful. Plenty of people do that and they aren't successful. Right. So it's the energy that you are putting in, and that energy of love, that energy of appreciation, that energy of acceptance, that energy of worthiness, and just knowing that the universe will provide, believing that, and going with that. All right, so it's always good talking to you all. All right, and it's good talking to you guys as well. So hopefully you took something away from this, and that you'll step into your own abundance, and recognize that abundance is all around you, and the more you can feel into that, the more it's going to show itself up for you. So until next time, this is Arvette.
This is Steve.
This is Rodney.
It's Ryan.
Bye.